Hi, so today we are going to be talking about our psychic abilities. So Amy Sikarskie is going to be joining me here in just a moment, and we are going to be talking about the ability to see, feel, hear, know spirit, and how that looks, how you can develop it, why it's important to you. And we're also going to be taking your questions about your psychic abilities, about your psychic gifts, because this is something that I think people, hi everyone, I think this is something that we're really interested in. Like when somebody says, Lady Mama, okay, no, I'm looking for Amy to ask to join, and I don't think her name is Lady Mama. Okay, sorry, we're not taking people to come on, but put any questions you have in the box while we wait for Amy to join here. So our psychic abilities in regards to, hi, hi Cubanita, hi Lola, let's see, no, just waiting on Amy. So do you guys have any questions that me and Amy are going to be able to answer for you as soon as she comes on about either clairvoyance or your clairaudience, so your ability to see or hear or know information? Oh, hi, Amy. I'm gonna wait for her to come on. Put it here in the box. Hello, hello. Let me know if you guys have any questions or where you're from. Hey, Lizzie. Good to see you. Hi, May. Oh, you're there. Oops. How do we hone in on what areas to study? Good morning from Cali. Hey. Okay, so how do we hone in on which areas to study? We'll jump into that. Hi, Amy.
Hi, it always glitches. It takes like just a second. I don't know.
I know.
So,
I don't know. And then I get confused.
yeah.
And I'm like, am I doing this right? So, yay, I'm glad you're here though.
Yes.
Yay. Okay, so I already oh, there are some. Okay. I'm getting some message. So I was seeing some questions in here, and I kind of told people that we're going to be talking about our psychic abilities and what they are and how to dive into them. And so this is all about, because me and Amy are opening up our round 2 of Supercharge Your Psychic Abilities. February 20th, we kind of just were like, let's do it, and then jumped into it. So we're really excited. It's a 6-week immersive class where you not only get teachings on each, like a different psychic ability each week, but then also activations, energy healings, and then group and partnered exercises. So it's really fun, especially if you're interested in like, okay, what does it mean to see a clairvoyant image, or what does it mean to actually hear spirit? So this is what this live is really for. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and send it in. Amy, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just trying to get comfortable. I've got my AirPods in, so I'm trying a new flow. Hopefully, it's not echoing. Yeah, but it's been a great day. So, I don't know. I've just been feeling into the energy, and it does feel really supportive. There's a little bit of rain, so I'm kind of feeling this like spring energy, new birth coming through, which feels to me like a great time to commit to something or to start a new project. And so if anybody's been thinking about tuning in more with their spiritual connection, the clair senses, the psychic abilities is totally where it's at. And I love how we were talking about it the other day, and it's like, oh yeah, this feels good. Let's bring the class back. Let's go for round 2.
And so for me, I didn't think I was psychic or intuitive. I knew I could feel energy, but it wasn't until I took a 3-week Your Psychic course. And I was like, I'm just going to go on a whim. I didn't have really anything else to make me feel like I was psychic. And it was just doing the partner exercises, or just even attempting like, oh, let me just say this, even though I think I'm making it up. It opened up a whole new world for me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually getting some of this right. Maybe there's something more to it. And so a lot of it is following your intuition. And so if you feel called and drawn to like developing your psychic abilities, and you don't really know why, and you're worried that you might fail, or you worry you're going to make it all up, there's usually a reason why we're being pulled forward for it, because we have that ability to connect in. Everyone's psychic, everyone's intuitive. We just have to learn how we receive it right, and how and also how to develop it, because it is a skill. It is like a muscle. And I want to jump into some of the questions here. Somebody had asked, how do we hone in on what areas to study? So this was, I think, about like psychic abilities. Do you want to go into that, Amy?
Yeah, well, I feel like if you get a general overview of the clair senses, that will give you so much information to move forward from. And Layla, when you were just sharing how we might feel a resistance or hesitance, I think that what can really help us with that is education. Because many of us do have these gifts that we're already using, we just don't know. There's actually a name and a term, and this is what's happening here. So if you look into the clair senses, that's going to help you understand what are your strongest ones, what ones are you drawn towards, and where do you want to move from that point. This class is amazing because that's what we do. We go through the clair senses, and then we talk about the energy body as well and how that supports the clair senses. So every chakra governs a clair sense, and that's really how we channeled in the outline, which was so fun. So that's what I would say where to start is studying the clair senses.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about clear senses, those are connected to that's the same as psychic abilities, in case anyone's confused about that. So that's your ability to, like everyone knows about the third eye with clairvoyance, your ability to see, but there's also the ability to just know information, which is connected to your intuition, hear, sense, feel, taste, and touch. We did that as well. So that was a fun week where you can taste energy and you can smell energy for information. And so it's allowing yourself to go into a group experience, allowing yourself to kind of explore as well. I'm going to go through here. Somebody said, my mom passed away, and is it possible for me to experience her presence again? So in regards to what we're talking about with the psychic abilities and learning how to hone into your ability to connect into spirit, one of the first foundational things would be to learn how you receive energetic information through your psychic abilities, through your clair-gifts. And so that would mean if you're a natural person who may see information first, so you may be able to develop your third eye and your clairvoyance to where you can visually get information and or symbolism, or you may be able to feel their energy or hear messages. So if you are interested in connecting more in with a loved one, for one, it would be calling in their energy, inviting them in close, asking them to kind of wrap around you. But as well, you can develop your psychic abilities so that you can receive a little more, I'm hearing the word visceral, like little more tangible information, so that you can connect in with loved ones. Yeah. I think, let me see. I'm going to keep going through here. I'm looking for questions about great course, highly recommend. Oh, hi. Hey. Glad that you're on. And if you took the course last time and you want to rejoin, just reach out to us, and we're doing like a huge discount for people who just love the practice sessions. Okay, no, that's not a question. I think I feel my head. Okay, I think I feel my mother's energy, also a voice in my head at times. One of the main things is we feel energy. And I think that was cool in our week where we went into clairsentience, where we were feeling energy, and most people were like, whoa, I didn't know how much I was actually feeling. And so when you isolate it and you practice on how you feel energy, you'd be surprised of how much you can pick up in regards to feeling your mother's, or especially your spirit guides or angels. Energy around you. But then if you hear messages in your head too, that's your clear audience, or it could be telepathic communication too, right, Amy?
Yeah, and I love how this experience highlights more than one psychic ability. So that often happens, and you'll find something catch our attention, and then the second psychic sense will come through. So when they are compounded like that, it's a double up of reassurance. And also when we sense people that have passed and crossed over, or if you're working with a guide and angel and you know their signature, when you feel them, they usually will bring in a sign. And so with a loved one, it's that feeling like, oh, I recognize their feeling. But it could also be a scent, maybe their perfume, or their, like if they baked all the time, that's a big one. Like, so apple pie, or if they loved coffee, you smell. So following that up by the message that comes through often is clairaudient. You hear it, But I've had moments where I sensed a loved one or a guide, and then I just felt all this love around me. So they don't always communicate with words, and we do talk about that in the class, and we break it down, which I think helps clarify when people might feel like, oh, am I really getting, like, is this really happening? Am I tuning in? And absolutely, yes, this is how it flows.
Yeah. And I think what's surprising for most people is that they're watching, especially if they've seen like me or you do readings, and we're just like saying like, oh yeah, I'm hearing this, I'm doing this, I'm feeling this. And so it gets really confusing because you're like, hold on, is somebody actually in front of her? Like what's actually happening? But what we're doing is where you experience, and you guys can as well experience, all of this psychic information is being filtered through in different ways. And we're just kind of combining it all together. When I say I'm seeing something, I can create right now as I'm talking to you, Amy, is I can create an image of an apple, and I can see an apple and talk to you. And that's kind of how clairvoyant images work, is that you're seeing something from a perspective and holding a point of focus. Once I start telling people about that, and we do the practice sessions on the clairvoyance, that week was super fun because people were like, oh my gosh, I've been seeing my whole time and I didn't know it. And that's the super cool part about it. Is that we're always receiving. It's just like practice is what really makes you understand just how much you're receiving.
Yeah. And the exercises, Layla, I love how you share that. So visualization helps us open up to the clairvoyant abilities, because when we're using our creativity or visualizing, it's like that muscle and that skill set. And then when we are in a session or we're receiving, we're tuning in, it's the same but in reverse. So we don't have to visualize the apple. It's right there, and then we're watching it. And I always look at like a hologram, just like what you're saying. So you're in this reality, but you also watch this all play out. It's pretty profound and very supportive when you have that sense activated. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it is kind of like, if right now I can be thinking about how I'm about to go pick my daughter up from school, and I can be thinking about cooking dinner and hold this conversation. That's how this all works. So we're just we're not thinking about cooking dinner. We're thinking about this psychic symbol that's coming through, but that's how you hold multiple points of awareness. And I think that's why women are so easily pulled into intuitive work, because we're used to holding multiple points of focus while we're doing this. Somebody said also, Amy, how do I understand? Okay, they're going through a spiritual awakening. They hear ringing. What does this indicate, and how to tell from high or low? I think we should just really focus on the fact that they're saying that they are hearing ringing in their ear when answering this one. That's for me, a sign of clairaudience and or your spirit team sending you a, hey, look here, look at this. And I always kind of pay attention. I might not directly receive exactly, it's kind of like an indicator bell, because sometimes it's about emotion or a feeling that I'm feeling. I always just say thank you. And it's also possibly a sign that your clairaudience is like opening up, in which your guide is coming in closer, and or you're receiving some sort of download or information. What are you thinking, Amy?
Yeah, I'm really feeling into it, and I'm having some memories. So, in everyday moments when that happens, for me, it's a sign that my guides are near and I'm loved. And especially like I'll have that when I'm going through something really hard, and it's like, okay, I can't make that up. I love when the sound comes in, the toning, because it catches us, it catches our awareness. And like, I can't make this up. This is literally happening right now. And it takes a moment for most of us. I would say mine go about 30 to 60 seconds maybe. So it's like that pause where we can stop and be present and connect within. And sometimes we can get a little too in our head about it, like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? Is there a message? Yeah, what is it? And it's like, well, maybe that's just to remind you that you're not alone. And maybe it's to remind you that you're supported and that there is an unseen world around you, and to pause and breathe and just feel that energy come through. So I found that happened often when I was going through transitions and big up-leveling, especially when I started studying psychic abilities and advanced energy classes. I was going through that up-leveling, and there's a lot that can come up for inner healing. And, the confidence to feel like we can do this and move forward. So I would get these moments and I would just know, oh, I'm supported in this. So yeah, that's one way in the everyday life. And then in readings, it's also a way that your team is working with your ear chakras to help activate your clairaudient abilities. So there's a couple of aspects to it. But once you get it down and once the chakras here become calibrated, you're going to find everything flows really smoothly. And if you're one who does energy work, also sometimes I can hear that tone, but it sounds off pitch. And so I know the energy is misaligned, and I wait for it to come to a beautiful resonance, and then I know, okay, we're good. So there's a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. Like, because we kind of talked about, I do a little symbolism of opening up the ear chakras, and I lead people through that in the course of how to open up your ear chakras, how to create symbolism and activate that to tune in. But I like the thought of also like, okay, if it feels a little off pitch, it's like, okay, how do we adjust the frequency or adjust our own energy so that we can be in resonance, like a tuning fork. So that's cool. So hopefully we're going to go over that too, I'm sure,
Yeah.
in for our Claire Audience Week. And somebody asked, do you both have a dominant clair sense? Amy, do you want to answer that first?
Yeah, mine was always clairsentience or empathy, feeling and sensing through emotion, and also in my body when I work, I'll feel a pressure or a tingle. I will feel in my body like a nanosecond before the person I'm working with will be experiencing it. And that's mostly when I'm in healing sessions. And then my second one was clairvoyance. That's what's activated
Yeah.
afterwards. Like they're all online, but those are my two strong ones.
Two strongest. Yeah. So for me, when I first opened up, I just I saw everything, and I had to be like, I had to dial that down a little bit because it was so intense. And I actually thought I wasn't clairaudient. That was the one I was like, oh, I'm not clairaudient. I wish I was, but that's actually my strongest clair that I use now. Is like clairaudience. It's just I didn't trust myself. And so we want visualizations because it's really hard to make up a visual. It's really difficult to trust yourself and listen to yourself, especially when we've been taught not to. And so once I learned, like, oh my gosh, actually, I am hearing a stream of information. I've had it my whole life. So I didn't realize there's a difference between my thinking mind and there's a difference between spirit talking to me. And once we can discern that, and we go over that in the course, how to discern that, then at that point, I was like, I'm always receiving this constant stream. So I'm always, if you do a session with me, I'm just asking them questions and I'm receiving a relay stream back. And then I use, yeah, all of mine are online, all my clear senses, but that, and I would say, gosh, I don't know. It depends on the day. Usually that in clairvoyance. But it depends on the day because some people I'm just like feeling their energy the whole time. So it kind of depends also. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, someone said they went in the kitchen and all of a sudden they smelled her perfume of probably their mother who passed. That is something that happens a lot in mediumship. And I think it's so neat because I'll smell a smell and I'll be like, oh, I'm smelling this perfume. Or maybe it's a baked good like you were talking about. And then I'll see an image associated. So last time that happened, I smelled a cologne and then I saw her in the closet smelling someone's shirt, and I could see what the shirt was, and they like let me know, like, so I said, okay, I'm seeing this, I'm smelling this, and she's like, I just was in there today smelling their clothing, smelling their scent. So it's cool because it combines, but I love when spirit sends us smells because it's so linked to memories.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you'll have to scroll because my screen froze. I can't scroll through. Yeah, I'm like, oh,
Someone
yeah.
said that we have smelled my mother's burnt bagel smell in the middle of the night. She used to burn her bagels every morning. That's why. That's how you know it's your loved one. Because how do you burn a bagel? I don't even get it, but that's funny.
That's awesome.
um, Question: how much is the class and how long? So the class is 237. It's for 6 weeks. We're adding in a seventh bonus week for extra practice. But then also, if you sign up before February 12th, we're offering a 20% off discount using Soul 20. It will be on the link to go into and sign up for the course. So we're offering an early bird special, but also if you have, what was I going to say? If you're a Soulwise LA member, you get also discount, which is the community me and Amy run. But yes, 237 with a discount. Yeah. So Cubanita says, how do I go about receiving a reading, please? So if you're interested in getting a reading from me or Amy, all you have to do is go to our Instagram site and look at our link in bio. We both have different readings that we offer. If you're interested in learning how to develop your psychic abilities, to go into your chakras, understand your clair ability so that you can do that for yourself or do that for other people too and understand it more. This is what this course is going to be all about starting February 20th. Let me see here. Tone it down. Thank you for the information. You're welcome. Someone said just had an immediate migraine and found out something happened to my daughter. Amy, you want to talk about what maybe that might be connected to?
Yeah, if it was something that was traumatic or alarming, she might have sent a signal out and you could have received, the energy through your aura. Or if you do have a cord of connection up in your mind space, which if you're already telepathic, like you finish each other's sentences often in that kind of a way, or she's going to call and then she calls. So if you already have this telepathy connected with her, it could have just come through straight on like a cable line. It's a cord, it's a frequency. But otherwise it most likely hit your energy field and then came to that particular space, because I feel like it was like a calling out. And what can happen is the soul can speak to us and we can know. So people in life might appear that they're okay. Like we might feel like, oh, we're okay. Or no, that wasn't that bad. I'm all good. But the energy is speaking another way about it. And so that feels like a call. I do feel like she was consciously aware, because you're already talking that you understand something happened. So it was in that moment. And also it can happen like right before. So I've noticed that, and I've seen that in spaces where we know something's going to happen with a loved one, and maybe it happened 30 seconds or a minute before when we go back and we look at the time on the clock or whatever. So that is an aspect of a psychic awareness, a psychic ability. But I'm feeling that it was coming through your energy field and just hit this space right here as like alarm bells going off. And again, it's not very comfortable, but it caught your attention, just like we were talking about earlier with the clairaudient toning. So the thing that helps me move through all of these uncomfortable physical sensations is getting clarity on what's going on, what it is, because it's just trying to bring a message and talk to you. So ask it, feel into it, and the more you get clarity and you really discover, oh, that's what that was, it should subside. If not, I would put hands on healing. So do some Reiki on this space and help it release the energy that embedded in.
I love that. Yeah, I love how that kind of works where, usually it's heightened situations, highly emotional situations where we typically feel that energy and it can be alarming. Yeah. But what would you say that's connected to in regards to like the psychic abilities or clear senses that we go over to? Like, would it be telepathy? I would feel.
At the mind space, yes. And also that clairsentience feeling where it hits the aura, and then the heart chakra and the solar plexus, like the heart and the gut, have to analyze it. So that's the thing, we're always being fed, or we have access to information, and then our system learns how to filter it through and translate it. So I would say I would agree.
And so we go over all of those in the course. And I think the week where we talk about telepathy is really fun and interesting, because especially we're so not aware of the mental energy that we're sending back and forth, especially to people that we're really connected to. You're going to have a cord to. It doesn't matter. You're going to have some sort of energetic exchange between, especially your family members or people who are close to you. And if we don't understand how to digest the information, meaning you feel the feeling, and instead of going, what feeling in with your psychic senses, like, what am I feeling? What am I sensing? Is this mine? You can kind of get caught in the energy field and kind of get a little overwhelming. So that's one of the beautiful things that I used my abilities at first when I was connecting in, is I just wanted to feel better and be able to understand what I was experiencing. And once you understand how energy speaks to you, then you can kind of start breaking it down so you don't feel like you're crazy all the time, right? Or overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Crazy. That was just me. Okay.
Yeah, I'm feeling like, what led us to this, like what essentially led us into this world. And for me, it was back years ago in high school, like trying to figure out all this chaotic energy around and understanding. So being really empathic and sensitive to energy, that was my path that propelled me in towards energy healing. And that led into readings. It's all connected. So you're bringing back memories.
I mean, because I
Yeah.
think about it crazy, but that's what led me into it. And I think that's what leads most people is that you feel so much
Yeah.
and then you're so used to not listening to yourself. So you just think that you're like, oh, you're like too much or over dramatic, but you feel connected to like psychic work. For me, I was felt drawn to it, but I was also kind of afraid of it because I was like, what would happen? But actually, the more I developed my ability to understand how I was always receiving, it actually calmed down the energy, and it just led to my life being and experiencing it in a higher frequency and being better. But most of the people I work with who are developing their psychic gifts and then moving on to like, okay, now I want to do readings or now I want to go further into this, it's because they were wanting to understand themselves more and then utilize it to heal other people or help other people if they feel called to it.
Yeah. I was just feeling a lot of peace when you were talking, that that was the goal or that was the result, was a lot of peace. And so understanding the energy and how our system is responding, which very much flows into the psychic abilities, because once you understand what might be on overload, you can learn through the class we're teaching skills about learning how to calm and quiet or amplify. So it's about regulating those psychic abilities, and we do talk about that.
And you do something really cool in the class that we do that everyone really loved is that you do an activation of the chakra that's connected to the psychic sense. So that's
Yeah.
something we go over, as well as each chakra being connected to a different psychic ability. And some are kind of like multi-leveled as well. And understanding, you do a little activation for energy. So it primes their field or primes our field so that we can receive. I'm seeing somebody clean up a mess. So it's like we're cleaning up the space so that we can receive it in the most clear, like clear way. And I think that that's something that is pretty unique to what we do, because I haven't really experienced other people who focus a lot on chakras as I know I do. And I think I probably learned a lot from that from you.
Yeah.
So what do you do when we're opening up our psychic abilities, when you're doing those activations? What is that for?
It's reminding the chakra of its frequency. So sometimes if it's dormant, it's just sitting there. Like we could have so many gifts, but we haven't tried. Or we haven't even, like we don't even know. Maybe it's something that's a soul level strength, but you haven't been in a situation where you would ever use it. So first of all, it's a remembrance. It's a reminder. It's priming the chakra. And then we bring in the frequency, or we do an exercise to help open it a little bit more and let the energy run through. In that process, you start to clear out blocks and emotions and memories and all these kinds of things. Thoughts can come out, and that's perfect because that's what's been held in there that really doesn't need to be. It's unprocessed energy. So we work to release it. And when you have a strong, clear chakra and the lens on the chakra is also healthy, I'll just say healthy, then you can feel and sense the different ways of energy, how it communicates through a particular chakra point, and you can start to translate it. So let's do an example. So clairsentience, I feel it in the heart, but I know you feel it in the lower chakras, right? Was it your sacral or solar plexus? Okay. And that solar, okay, and that one is a unique one because I've heard it in both places. So it's kind of how do we connect in. So we've got that clairgustance to taste energy is the throat. So it's kind of like where do you want to, or what chakra do you feel is the strongest and you want to refine that gift. And some of us might say, well, which one is the weakest? What one do I want to bring online? So it's a personal decision in how it goes. I would recommend getting really clean and clear with your strongest one first, and then flowing into the secondary and then the third gift. So every chakra does have the gift. And if the chakra is out of alignment or not singing, I'm hearing it like singing, so the tone is really pure and that beautiful resonative frequency, then the information that you receive is going to feel or hear or sound, it's going to be muffled. It's going to feel fuzzy and be muffled. It's like tuning that dial on the radio station. So we can try all day. We can try all day. We can have the intention. We can show up wanting to, let's just say, hear energy, hear a message. But if our chakras aren't clean, or if they're tipped out of alignment, just think of it, it's like you're missing the antenna, or you don't have the physical or the energetic anatomy. You don't have the what you need to receive. And so I think being like an advanced energy therapist, and I specialize in chakra work, it's really been beneficial when we do work with people to activate their psychic senses. It's a foundational piece to it, which is really important.
It's incredibly important. And even in some of like my mentorship that I do, I have people who are already, working, doing, intuitive work or psychic work or mediumship work, and have never focused on their chakras and never have focused on opening, clearing. I'm like, oh, well, you got a huge piece here. Let's open these up and clear these out. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm receiving stuff I've never received in such clarity. So it's so huge as a foundational piece. And that's why I like is that we really bring a multi-layered kind of energy to this course. You're not just going to learn about your psychic abilities. We're going to prime it, get it set, get your energy field perfectly aligned to that kind of frequency, and then work on developing it. And so somebody also asked, is deja vu connected to our psychic abilities? Let's see.
Okay. I was like, do you want to go? Or so the way that we like receive the experience is, and that's unique to everybody potentially. Like I just know how I feel with deja vu. It's like I feel I've seen this before, I felt it before, and maybe I've heard it before. So the way that we are sensing the experience, absolutely. But deja vu to me is when we've connected into the quantum field at some point in time and we already went into the future and saw it. And then it happens, and then that's deja vu. I like deja vu because it reminds me, oh, I'm on my chosen timeline. So, for example, we recently moved and I've had moments where I was like, oh, I had deja vu. But a year ago, I didn't even know about this house. My surroundings, I didn't even have an awareness of that it would be changing, right? So then I'm like, oh, this was planned sometime in the past. And so I do enjoy deja vu. But the way that we tune and tap into the experience, we're using the psychic senses, and I feel like we're using a combination, like more than one for sure, because it's such a visceral knowing and experience.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with, quantum energy of our different levels of awareness as being multidimensional beings connected to our higher self, soul, spirit, and being able to perceive events that are coming in the future in our timeline that we're currently most aligned to. And for some reason, some of those just anchor in. I'm seeing like a little signpost, like how you said, like little signposts where those anchor in. And for some reason, we were able to see that. And then I'm seeing like it fits right into a puzzle piece. So it's like we already saw the cutout design. And when we get to the point on the map where we are experiencing that deja vu feeling, it's like we've already seen the blueprint for it. And that's why it feels so visceral. Some people talk about parallel lives with that, or, I mean, it's big stuff. But yeah, we're using our psychic abilities to connect into the energy, because we live in a psychic field. So let's see. Okay, so we have here like about 2 minutes left. So we're gonna wrap up. It's such a cool experience. Yes, you are where you're supposed to be. We're gonna be doing a couple more of these here until we start the course. Remember, it starts February 20th. It's 7 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. It's a 6-week live course. If you can't join live, there's replays, there's a Facebook community, and it is on early bird special for 20% off. I'll link the code SOUL20. Yeah, SOUL20 for 20% off. Soulwise LA members get an extra discount, but we are so excited. This was such a fun course the first time we did it.
Yeah.
And it's such a huge, I'm hearing gateway. It's like, it's our gateway drug into actually trusting yourself. It's like, if you can see how you receive psychic information, you might just start trusting yourself, and then a whole load of stuff happens with that. It's like the aha light bulb comes in. It's like, what else have I been missing and not in thinking I'm not experiencing, but I can. So this is a cool course. Amy, have anything to add before we?
Oh, I just love it. Yeah. And so you mentioned the code and then Soulwise LA. So it's two different things. So if you want to join Soulwise LA, you get a discount as well. And Soulwise LA is awesome. We started it in June of last year, and we meet every month and we touch on really important things that enhance our spirituality and our energetic health, I would say. But it's such a beautiful community. So also, if you're interested in Soulwise LA, the link is in our bio, or you can go to soulwisela.com or amysikarskie.com or lailataylor.com. Like, it's there, it's all here for you. But we're excited to meet you guys. It's such a beautiful experience to work with community and in the group settings, and we love the lives. Plus, we have the bonus this time. So we have an extra week that we're adding in so we can practice with everyone. It's going to be awesome.
All right. Well, looking forward to seeing you all in the course and in the class. Remember, you can follow the link in the bio to sign up for the course for the early bird, or you can send me and Amy a message or DM with any questions. Until next time.
Alrighty, bye
Alrighty, bye
guys.
guys.
Bye, Amy. Bye, guys.